There are three things that I look at to determine if the sustain board is working or defective. Number one is cracked solder joints. Number two is shorted components. And number three is components that failed open. So let's look for cracked solder joints. A few of the spots I check for cracked joints are the coils right here and the heat sinks. So looking under our microscope, this is the first coil. And as you can tell here, this joint looks pretty good. But this one looks like there is a pretty heavy crack all the way around. There's a little ring. So this one is cracked and we will need to solder it up again. This one is in very bad shape, as you can tell. There's a lot of burning, so there was most likely arcing, and we're gonna need to do a lot of cleaning here to resolder it up. This one looks okay. This one's also fairly burnt, and this one looks okay. So we're gonna have a little bit of work to do here. The second part we're gonna look at is shorted components. There are 6 transistors that commonly short out on this circuit board. So in beep mode on my multimeter, when I touch my leads together, we get a beep indicating a short. I'm gonna check this transistor here, and we get a beep. Same with this one. Same with this one. We'll check the 3 transistors up here. Also shorted, shorted, and shorted. Looking at the front of the board, the 6 transistors we just checked were these 3 here and here. And the last thing I'm gonna check is our failed open components, such as our fuse. A good fuse is a shorted fuse, so we should get a beep, but unfortunately we do not get a beep. That means this fuse has failed open and will need to be replaced. We're gonna get the 6 transistors removed, starting by unscrewing them. So we have 6 total, 3 over here. And then we have the 3 on the silver heatsink. Now that I've unscrewed them, I can go ahead and loosen them up. So by loosening them up, I mean I'm just gonna pull them away from the heatsink with my needle nose pliers. As always, I'm gonna start by adding a lot of solder to each joint. And now I'm going to start removing the solder. So using my desolder pump, I'm gonna first melt the joint and then suck it right up. And I'm only gonna do actually one leg right now. And this leg is the one that's the circled leg. As you can tell, there's actually a circle drawn around that leg. This is the easiest one to desolder, the other 2 a lot harder. I'm gonna give it a try to desolder the other 2. And I got a lot of the solder out, but the leg is still very solid in there. So what that means is that I still have part of the solder inside the joint did not get removed properly. So let me try again. And then I'm actually gonna try the other joint as well. Nope, they're still solid. So those aren't moving. I'm gonna add more solder to them. And we're not gonna desolder them. So what I'm gonna do instead of removing the solder, because those 2 joints are a lot more difficult. So on the bottom side, I'm going to grab the transistor with my needle nose pliers. And on the top side, I'm gonna go back and forth with my iron. And I'm gonna melt both joints at the same time and slowly pull out the transistor. So now that I've pulled it out, let's go ahead and remove the solder. It should be a lot easier now that there's not a leg in there. And we'll go ahead and just do the same for the other 2. I guess it's other 5. I'm grabbing it from the bottom side. There we go. So I'm actually noticing inside of the actual joints, there is still quite a bit of solder. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean up the rest with my desolder wick. And I like to use the Chem Wick from Chemtronics. It's got flux embedded in it. It's very easy to use. Using our multimeter in beep mode, we're gonna recheck for shorts. No beep, no beep, still no beep, and no beep. Now let's check the transistors out of circuit that I just removed. And we do get a short. So all 3 legs are shorted to one another. Let's check the second one. Same thing here. And our third one, also shorted. This is one of our replacement transistors. No beep, and no beep. So no short. That's what a good transistor should look like. So this is where the 3 transistors were. And as you can tell, there's a little gunk left behind from the old thermal paste. So we're gonna clean that off because it is dried out and crusty. We'll wanna put fresh thermal paste on there. So I'm just using isopropyl alcohol and a Q-tip. And I'm gonna go over it a couple of times until it's nice and clean. So I'm going to put thermal paste on the back of our new transistors, and I'm just using the back of each transistor to rub against each other to get a nice and even coating here. Now let's go ahead and insert them back in. And before we solder them down, we're going to go ahead and screw them back in. You definitely want to screw them in before you solder them down. Otherwise, if they're not lined up perfectly, you're going to have to desolder and resolder it. And now I can go ahead and solder them from the back. Perfect, now let's go ahead and do the same to the other three. Because there are so many components in the way of the transistors for the black heatsink, what I'm going to do on this set of 3 transistors is actually bend the legs a little bit at about a 30 to 45 degree angle so that I have an easier time inserting them into the circuit board. And you can also move these capacitors in and out of the way to make it a little easier. So it's a little messier on this side, but the thermal paste is non-conductive, so it won't affect the functionality of the board. Now that we've replaced all 6 shorted transistors, let's go ahead and do one final short check. Again, in beep mode, no short, and no short. Now the other side, no short, and no short. So we're all set, we've gotten rid of the shorts. Now let's go ahead and take care of the fuse. Same as always, add a little solder first. And then same thing as with the transistors, we're actually going to desolder it after we remove it. To pull the fuse out, I'm just using these tweezers on the other side as I'm soldering on the front. And now that the legs of the fuse are out of the way, we can go ahead and more easily desolder the joints. So our good fuse should be shorted, and we have a beep. Our bad fuse, no beep. We'll go ahead and bend the legs, push it through. Now the body of the fuse itself is a little smaller here, but that doesn't actually matter. The size of the fuse does not matter. And I'm actually having a little bit of a hard time here, and I think it's because I still have some solder. So I'm just gonna make that solder flow, push it through, that's kind of hot, and then just pull it, right? And then we'll go ahead and add a little bit more. We'll go ahead and chop off the excess, and that's what it looks like on the front. So we've taken care of the fuse that failed open as well as the transistors that failed shorted. Now we're going to take care of the cracked solder joints. The first thing I want to do is just clean up our whole area to know the extent of the damage. So for example, here we have a lot of metal that is burnt. I'm just going to scratch at it a little bit, see what's frail, because I don't want to be soldering to copper that's like just about to fall apart, like this right here. So I just want to scratch away at all of the burnt material. Then again, using isopropyl alcohol to clean it up. And now I'm going to add some extra solder to the actual coil joints. And I'm going to try to remove all of the old burnt up solder that's currently on there. And there is one thing I'm forgetting about, and that's our flux. So we're going to actually add a little flux too. And now we're going to go ahead and clean off all the excess solder. Now that we've cleaned up the joints, what I'm going to do is use the leg of a capacitor. I'm going to create a little hook. We still do need to resolder these over here. We'll do it 3 more times. No beep, still no beep. So that doesn't quite complete our repair yet. I did do some other checks around the other transistors on the board, check for other shorts. So far I haven't found anything, but I did spot some other cracked solder joints. Some of the other transistors, such as the ones over here on screen, the leg that is actually circled, that's the easier one to desolder, seems to be more prone to having a cracked solder joint. So I'm going to add new solder, fresh solder on all of these, as well as the ones over here. Even though they don't look to be cracked, they are similar transistors that could have issues in the near future. And one last thing I'm noticing as well for cracked solder joints is the heat sinks. As you can tell here, there is actually a little bit of a ring that's starting to form, and that is the beginning of a crack on the heatsink. So we'll also do the same thing, resolder those. It's very important that you have all 10 screws screwed back into the Z-sustain. So we installed it. Let's go ahead and plug it in. And I don't have a main board, but I do have my logic board set for the color pattern test. So we should be getting our color pattern test on screen, and we got the white screen, black screen, should be red, then blue and green. And it looks like it's working. If you found the video helpful or useful, leave us a like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.